So let's continue our special Spring Festival series on the Year of the Snake, and this time our focus is on how people in Taiwan celebrate the Spring Festival. As we mentioned in part one, by the way, which is already uploaded on YouTube, so go check it out because a lot of the stuff we're not repeating. We're just kind of building on what we talked about in part one, so do check it out. The year 2025 will be the year of the snake, according to the traditional Chinese zodiac. So for Chinese people around the world, it is the most important holiday during which we take stock of what happened in the past year and what the new year is have in stock for us. But how is this holiday observed in Taiwan? That's why we have two young people from the island, and we have a Chinese scholar and an American scholar joining us to help you understand, to help me understand actually, because I've never been to the island and I've never had a Chinese New Year celebrated in Taiwan style, so I'm very curious. So without much ado, let's continue our discussion and experience. Next to me is Wei-chi, who studied Human Resources Management at Renmin University of China in Beijing. Tsung-chi, a student of law at China University of Political Science and Law here in Beijing. Jimeng, Senior Research Fellow at the Center for China and Globalization, also a professor with UIBE, a very prominent international business and trade university. And last but not least, joining us online from Bangkok is our old friend, very good old friend, David Moser, who's really his Chinese is probably better than most of us. I mean, better than mine for sure. Better than yours too?
Yeah, better than me.
Okay. David Moser from Beijing Capital Normal University joining us from Thailand. So let's pick up from where we left behind. Last time we talked a lot about food, about the different food and the similar food that people eat on this very important day. But I know for people on the mainland, there's one big thing, whether you like it or not, you just cannot get around it, which is the Spring Festival Gala, and that's the what David mentioned. And there is a song which really has gone viral about Spring Festival because it was first presented by a very popular artist from Hong Kong by the name of Andy Lau, Liu Dehua. But the song was actually co-written by him and someone from Taiwan, a songwriter from Taiwan. It's called 恭喜发财. Again, we talked about what that means, what 恭喜发财 means in the first episode. So if you don't understand it, go check it out. Anyway, this song was first presented in 2005, and then it became like an iconic song.
Instant hit.
Yeah, an instant hit. And ever since,
Yes.
it is part of our Spring Festival memory. So I thought, there you go. That's the melody. 恭喜你发财，恭喜你精彩，最好的请过来，不好的请走开，礼多人不怪。David, what does that mean? Do you know this song too?
Yeah, well, I've seen Jackie Chan sing it. I've seen Liu Dehua sing it. So I mean, it's like the new sort of pop Spring Festival song. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what is it? Does it say? The lyrics actually says. Professor Teng, why don't you help us understand the lyrics?
Well, once again, it's a classical theme in terms of New Year's song. I mean, be prosperous, be wealthy, and good luck with the new year. So it's a good luck wishing song. It's like a Christmas song back up in there in North America. I remember some of these great songs sung by Frank Sinatra. But this is really a Chinese New Year song, and especially the Chinese Lunar New Year song, enjoyed by all Chinese, including the Chinese diaspora in Southeast Asia, in Thailand perhaps, or in North America. Actually, I'm so sure, because I spent my one Spring Festival back in New York in 1999. And when in Chinatown, you hear the song
Yeah.
all over. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, the shops run the song all
Non-stop.
over, non-stop. I mean, 24 hours a day.
Professor Teng, you talked about Spring Festival being celebrated across the world by overseas Chinese community, but also by people in different countries. You know, I know in Caribbean countries, for instance, there are national holidays that are set aside to celebrate the Chinese festival. Last December, UNESCO actually inscribed Spring Festival social practices of the Chinese people in celebration of the traditional New Year on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. So that means that Spring Festival is not just a Chinese cultural phenomenon, but something that's recognized part of the global heritage, global cultural heritage. 钟琪，你觉得为什么春节会成为这个全人类的文化遗产之一？联合国这个教科文组织为什么会把春节也变成一个 intangible cultural heritage？
因为我觉得说，华人在这个世界上全球各地遍布，春节不仅仅是一个新年的象征，更像是我们对美好生活的盼望，以及对团聚和过去一年的总结的感觉。现在也不仅仅是在华人，世界上各种各样的人都会庆祝农历新年，也表达了很多的寄许和期望。
What do you think Chinese Spring Festival culture can bring to people who are not Chinese? For instance, our snake dance video has actually gone viral, and the video has been played 250,000 times. It's a great surprise in a week. Why are people interested in Chinese Spring Festival as a cultural practice?
我觉得就像之前一段时间，国外的朋友们也会对我们烧钱给祖先感兴趣一样，这是他们文化中不曾包含的一部分，所以他们也会对我们的文化感到非常的有兴趣，以及尝试理解跟在这个互联网时代的交融下，大家都对平常接触不到的东西会更有兴趣，以及保持更大的尊重跟好奇。
I think the key value of Spring Festival is it made every family members can be a reunion, and it's very important for everyone. So even the background from even they have different cultural background, but they will still understand and they will like this value.
Professor Teng, what do you think of UNESCO listing Spring Festival on the list of intangible cultural heritage? Does it mean that this is unique, this is not shared by other cultures, or does it mean that this is something that needs to be cherished? People need to be reminded of the values that are expressed through the Spring Festival.
Yeah, I would echo my two young fellows' remarks on this. I think UNESCO's recognition represents a global recognition of the Chinese Spring Festival, especially in terms of the values the Spring Festival represents. For example, family, reunion, reunion of family members, community solidarity, and respect.
Remembering ancestry.
Right. And respect for tradition, and respect for this very, the elderly, the people around you, the community you share with. So in this sense, it's about this very global consciousness. It raises the global consciousness of a festival that can contribute to humankind with
And it's
good
so
values.
big.
And it's so big.
Right?
Yeah,
It's so big.
Right.
Yeah. David, what are your thoughts? It's long overdue in my eyes.
The festival really combines sort of all it means to be human. Everything he mentioned was, family, food, children, reunion, love, unity, so forth. And it's also, I think, because the Chinese festival goes back to an agrarian period, 5,000 years. I think there's a deep resonance, is what I could say. If you look at part of the eastern part of the world, there's already a lot of resonance there because those cultures actually got a lot of Chinese influence over the hundreds and thousands of years. So right away, there's a kind of instinctive resonance on those cultures. But I think that the fact that China is such a long history and actually such a spread out nation with diverse population is still managed to keep this unified message, a unified culture, and a set of unified cultural values that have lasted for eons, much longer than any other cultures. So it's sort of a culture that keeps those things and has credibility because it goes back so far into our past. And I think that's a very special thing about Chinese culture in general, not just the Spring Festival.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. I mean, this is the unbroken civilization that lasted about 5,000 years. Even we have ups and downs and dynastic changes, but it continued.
Yeah.
It continued.
And the things that we share in common across the straits, the things that we talked about actually will find resonance among overseas Chinese communities in many parts of the world. It's not just unique to Taiwan, it's not just unique to the mainland, it's literally present in Chinese communities wherever you may be.
It's in our DNA,
yeah,
it's our cultural and biological DNA, and it's the fabric meaning of all this.
What about on the island? How do young people nowadays celebrate Spring Festival in Taiwan? Is it very different from how we used to?
因为一般春节还是跟家里面过，所以说其实也会依照家里面的安排，就并不会跟以前有很大的差别。初一我们一样会守岁，然后会去走春，然后初二回娘家，然后一切其实都是跟以前是一样的，就一脉相承。对对对。
It's still very traditional.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the mainland, Professor Teng? Your observation? It seems that here, as we get more modernized, per se, it seems that the idea of Spring Festival becomes a little pale these days.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, China becoming more modern has always been a concern here among scholars or even government officials, especially in terms of preserving, keeping, and maintaining all these traditions that are all kind of well kept in Taiwan. I think Taiwan has a reason to outperform sometimes the mainlanders, because I think Taiwan has been colonized first by the Portuguese, then the Japanese, and many others, and so the importance is to keep the traditional Chinese culture in order to survive and thrive. And the similar issues are also facing China nowadays since reform and opening. We are very much kind of westernized in terms of our food and the way we are dressed. I mean, look at you two. I mean, you are so very traditional, and I am basically kind of a Western style, right? And so you can see the sharp contrast right now. And so the issue right now, I think, is important, and that is to preserve, to protect, and also to maintain our way of life. It is something that we ultimately find we are in common. We are, in one big family.
Professor Teng, you actually raised something very important, as we modernize. How do we stay Chinese?
Yeah.
And David, I observed you have been listening very attentively. What's your observation? Have we gone too far in terms of, pursuing modernization, that we're kind of left behind some things?
I was just thinking of this. I know that, for example, even in my time in China, we have switched from things like the hongbao being actually paper with money inside of it, and nowadays we have the internet, and people are sending digital hongbao, instead of actual hongbao. I was wondering if Taiwan still does that.
In Taiwan, do people still give physical? Here it's almost like scan.
Yeah, on WeChat. WeChat. Special feature, right?
You scan me, and then...
There's this tradition that I was very aware of when in my relatives in Hebei, that the Spring Festival is the time that you do, they call it chuanmer. You go to visit the neighbors. You go out and you knock on the door, and you just, all your neighbors, you say hi, bring some gifts, just, even if you haven't seen them all year. And it seems like that's going away too, because we have WeChat. You just send them a WeChat, you know, with a cute little pop-up sort of animated thing on the WeChat. I think we're getting lazy and sort of losing this personal human touch a little bit, because, and then I think there's one other thing that has bothered me a little bit. It's not a bad thing, but China, the lifestyle is so much better now and people are able to eat incredible food every night of the week, every day. You know, a big banquet is people, you know, we're just used to it. Things like Peking duck, people could eat anytime they want. But something special about the New Year feast was that, you know, this was a yearly thing where you ate food that you can't even imagine in a weekly experience. It's once in a year, huge banquet. And nowadays, there's nothing quite so special. I mean, you know, we have this every day. I can get this every weekend, right? So it's like, you know, there's a Chinese expression, you know, 有得有失. If you gain something, you lose something. So we've gained something in GDP, and people are living very wealthy lives now. But you lose this tradition of the specialness of the event of the holiday. So I have a mixed feelings, and so I'm glad to see that Taiwan is at least preserving the paper hongbao. I think that's a good thing to keep.
You know, David, the latest statistics that the average Chinese is consuming more protein than the average Americans. So we're at a time where we really don't have what we used to have. You know, not just we didn't starve, but we have such variety, such abundance to choose from that a good meal is not special anymore. I remember I love new clothing.
Yeah.
And we have this tradition that on the first day of the new year you're supposed to wear something new.
Yeah.
You know? So I remember there was one year my mother was so busy she couldn't finish making a new cotton padded jacket for me. So I was like, Mom, when are you going to do it? It's already New Year's Eve. If you don't do it now, I got no new jacket to wear on the first day of the new year. And I literally stayed next to the sewing machine like that. And she got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to half finish that new jacket so that I could wear it, a half finished jacket, to go to the temple and, you know, offer incense to our ancestors. I remember it so well, but it was such a heartwarming experience. And now I don't have it. I can't give it to my children because they don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Every other day.
Everything we all have.
Yeah, every other day you can have a nice, you can have 佛跳墙, every other day you can have...
But in Taiwan, before the New Year, my grandma will take our family's children to the market and buy new clothes. Yeah, that is still for us, buy red clothes, especially it need to be red.
Yeah.
But my family in mainland will not do these things, and because I'm now studying in the mainland, and I can see some classmates and some friends, maybe in Taiwan we will do the customs, but in the mainland they will worship online or send rent envelopes online.
Tsung-chi, what is your observation? Because as there are a lot of people who are kind of losing touch with their past, but we also see re-emergence of traditional Chinese culture. For instance, the popularity of Hanfu, you know, the newfound confidence in traditional Chinese culture. Do you see kind of a divergence or people trying to look for the way forward in the process?
我觉得随着时代的更替，这些传统文化的与时俱进是应该的。就像我今天穿的这个也是叫所谓新中式，就是大家结合现代人的穿衣习惯以及对古代的人们的像唐装汉服，然后由此而再结合出的新的中国文化。我觉得这就是一个很正常的现象，要用正反两面性去看待它。
In the next 5 to 10 years, I ask this question to all of you. Do you see that people will kind of look back, or the pendulum will kind of swing back, and people realize that the physical contact, to be in touch with their roots in in an original, authentic way, will come back, especially among the young people?
Yes, absolutely. I see this re-emergence and this new-found confidence or this sense of urgency among the young people here on both sides of the Taiwan streets. I mean, look at these two young people. I mean, they are so very confident and so, I mean, stunningly beautifully when they were dressed in this traditional Chinese costumes. And so I think it's time that we stop modernizing ourselves in such a fast pace, right? I mean, we need modernization, but we don't need to, in a sense, race or compete like rat. I mean, the rat race. Perhaps Tangping could be an option right now, or
Tangping with in quotation marks.
in a positive sense, right? And falling back on our tradition and reflect on our tradition and find the positive and use it to our advantage. In this case, I think that Hanfu and Tangzhong are great fashions, great models, suits. I mean, that we can revitalize and we can wear. It's practical. I mean, it's practical. And unlike Western suits, I mean, I need a tie, but then you don't need a tie. You need great designs on our shoulder, on the chest. I mean, it is so very, in a sense, it's very highlighted, in a sense. It's the highlight of this great fashion. And it's the beauty and also the tradition. Look at the great design, the clouds, the sun, the birds, and the animals, and also the jewelries out there. And it's all beautiful. I mean, it's all something that we can contribute to this fast developing and globalizing world. It is the Chinese, I think it is the Chinese idea or Chinese way of life that we can globalize.
David, what is your thought? How do we go with the time and bringing along the precious traditions, but also, adapting to a modern pace? Because we are not going to dress like that every day, but yet we have that in our heart, right? How do we do it?
We've lived through things like COVID, and we've sort of learned to keep in contact and keep communication lines open via what we're doing right now. This is a great example. I'm here in Bangkok, you're there in Beijing, and yet we're having a conversation, right? So this particular spring semester, I won't be back in China, and so I won't be able to be at my in-laws, my mother and father-in-law's place. But I'm for sure we will have a WeChat call, in which case we'll say hello to everyone, make some jokes. She and her sister can catch up and so forth. And even they might even do it over dinner, so we can both be having dinner at the same time and looking at each other and seeing what the other person is. So this is not a bad thing. This is something that's able to keep something alive that otherwise would not happen, right? But I do think that we also should try to cherish those things that you don't really need to modernize. So the hongbao is a good example. You don't really need to do it digitally. You can actually buy it and give it to your kids with a paper, right? Also, things like making jiaozi. The people will not give up the making of jiaozi by hand, because it's not just the jiaozi. It's the camaraderie. It's the cooperation. It's the family. It's seeing each other and talking over making this meal, right? So there's no reason why that has to go away just because we have frozen jiaozi that you can easily get. So I think we need to cherish and keep what we can keep, but not worry too much about things that just actually help us to keep the holiday spirit and the interaction and the conversation alive, in some way, even though we're also scattered across the world. So, as I just said it, you gain something, you lose something. And I think we just need to be clear what it is we're gaining and what it is we're losing.
I think that's going to be the question that we will try to answer, how we try to keep a good balance between what we're gaining and what we're losing. But for this conversation, there's nobody that's losing. Who's losing? We'll all be gaining something because we have prepared something very special. I should have announced it at the beginning of the show. Every guest will get a special gift. One is a Chinese fan you know, which is written
圣意
Sheng Yi. What does it mean? Who would like to? Sheng Yi. Sheng Yi is like you things will go as you wish, right?
Yeah.
是这个意思吧？圣意
Yes.
and it's a traditional fan. I think it's handmade with paper, with hand with calligraphy. So this is one gift. Another is a mini you, a mini Wei-chi. So it's a 冰箱贴, yeah, with a little
It's
magnet.
so cute.
But it's a traditional Hanfu style, Han costume.
Is it pipa?
She's playing pipa like
Yeah.
your
Pipa
pipa
sleeves.
sleeves.
Ah.
Like pipa sleeves, there we have it. And similar hair. And then, of course,
Lastly.
David, we have something for you as well. Don't worry, but this is only physical for the for the guest here. And this is the blockbuster. This is a IP, a toy made in the shape of a snake, as you can tell. And this is from CMG, China Media Group. So this is a very hot commodity this year. We tried very hard to grab one, and finally we have it. So who's going to have which? We are going to do a lucky draw, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are being fair. So there are three pieces of. This is your fortune-telling moment.
Lady first.
There you go.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you go first, Wei-chi. Does it look very different?
Okay, this one.
You, I guess. There's not much to
Thank you.
be chosen. So, moment of truth.
Ooh.
四声声,
Oh,
ta-da!
Oh, that's for me. Wow, I'm the dragon now. I'm the snake.
Yeah, the snake. It actually has a name. Yeah, 四声声. Congratulations, Professor
What do you
Teng.
mean? Thank you.
Yeah, what is you? Fridge magnet. So you got a mini you.
So what deserves.
And of
I
course,
got a fan.
you got a fan
fan,
with the
huh?
Sheng Yi. Wow, it fits your costume as well. Congratulations. Do you like them?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your participation.
It's
for
a great
your,
pleasure.
For your
joining you.
input. Of course, a big thank you for David. Happy New Year of the Snake. I wish you all the very best. Good health, prosperity to you and your family.
Same to you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you. Why don't we sign off with the snake dance again? Yeah?
Okay.
Let's try that. Okay. Okay, with that, we're coming to the end of this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin, coming to you from Beijing. We wish you the happiest year of the snake. Come, let's.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
What? With the eyes too, huh? With the eyes. Look at each other.
New Year. Huh? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.